What's his last name again?
I think we're witnessing the onset of dementia.
Well, I mean, I've read his name 3 times in text.
Maybe it's not dementia. Maybe it's what's the other
Trust me, I don't remember anybody's name. Be glad I remember Tony.
I can't remember what.
That's only because
I can't remember what it's called when you can't remember things. What is that?
That could be dementia or forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness, but what is it called when you're
Alzheimer's?
old? Alzheimer's. I couldn't think of Alzheimer's. Is that a bad thing?
My grandparents
I couldn't think of it.
Called it old timers, and I don't know if that was like a joke among senior citizens, or they just actually didn't know it was Alzheimer's and not old timers. They'd be like, "Oh, Charlie's getting that. He's getting a touch of old timers."
I mean, you know what I love about old people? They're constantly telling jokes like that.
Listen,
like it's all like old people jokes. Like everything they say is just a joke.
So they're basically making fun of everyone.
You never hear an old person
age of 80.
You never hear an old person say, I'm tired of being on all the time.
No, but they just say I'm tired. They always say I'm tired. That's why. They don't say why they're tired. They just know they're tired.
You an A&W.
I saw that. Very nice. Diet, just in case.
I bought one for me, and then I felt guilty about it. Like you'd be looking at my A&W.
Well, you're probably not wrong about that.
Like, what the hell? Why is he getting himself an A&W and I don't get anything? And so I went back into the 7-Eleven and I said, I'm gonna have another one. And they must be like, this guy doesn't realize he has a problem.
Double trip.
I did a double trip.
Very kind. Very kind. Thank you. It's very nice.
And you got a water there, too.
Well, thanks.
I felt like I didn't want to give you any caffeine this time because I felt like you sounded a little dehydrated the last time.
Maybe I was dehydrated from other things. You know what I mean? I think last time I had coffee, too.
Yeah, you had a coffee and 2 tall boy Diet Cokes. You sounded like
I was thinking about those
crusty
today. Hey, listen, that's the secret.
What's the secret?
Crusty. Keep them guessing. What's going to sound like next time? You never know.
Sometimes he's juicy, sometimes he's crusty.
That's right. I had a record the other day, and I sounded so spitified. I was like, geez, it sounds like I'm underwater. My mouth sounded so juicy, and I thought for sure they were going to say something. Nothing. And there were like 5 people in the booth. All various levels of people who could tell me to do anything they wanted.
I recorded my albums in a variety of different ways, from in my bedroom to at my producer's apartment to in professional studios. No one ever says anything about the sound quality unless I bring it up, and then one guy will be like, I did notice.
All right. Well, that's because
he'll be the audio file, and he'll be like, I noticed you were using, I'm so ignorant about this stuff.
But with that stuff, you're the whole show. See, I'm a cog in a very large machine. The Nickelodeon machine, I'm a very tiny, and if they hear that's like a guy who just bought a brand new, whatever the most expensive car is, the Rolls Royce, and he's driving it around for the first day, he's driving it around in Van Nuys, where all them Rolls Royces are, and he hears a little squeak. You know damn well he's taking it right back to the dealership and say, hey, assholes, what's this rattle going on in here? Because I just spent $8 squillion on this super fancy solid gold Rolls Royce, and I got a little squeak. My juiciness would be the little squeak in the Nickelodeon show. So they should have no problem telling me. And then I think, well, maybe they're all over it at this point.
I came to LA and I'm like, I'm going to audition for cartoons. When I was in Atlanta, I got a lot of cartoon work because I was in the building. I was an animator in the building. I was writing. Everybody saw me. I was fucking with everybody. I was going in everybody's office. I was drinking with everybody. Then I come to LA. I get an agent.
Stop drinking with everybody.
I don't drink anymore.
That's a key right there.
And the audition stopped. I mean, the auditions didn't stop, but like being cast stopped. I did not get cast anymore because I'm competing with the best VO people who aren't in Dallas. I'm competing with the best of the best. But the one time I get a callback was for Nickelodeon, and I got to go into the building.
Oh.
Into the Nickelodeon building.
Yeah.
And it was for like a robot who rapped. So I was perfect for it. A rap bot.
Yep.
And it was me and 3 other people who are all famous.
Who were they?
It was
remember?
the voice of Samurai Jack.
Wait a minute. Is that Phil Lamar?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in everything. His resume is like infinite. You could never read it all.
Yes.
And then
Nor would you want to.
And then there was Rufio from Hook.
Yep. Dante Brasco, I think. Dante.
I don't know. And then this small Asian girl comedian who I can't think of her name.
Whoa.
But
I like
she
this. I like
was
20 questions. Aquafina. No.
No, she's in most of everything now. But she was she was in a Judd Apatow movie once, and it was like a big deal because she was brand new.
Asian
but everybody was
comedian.
famous, and that's when I realized that you have to be famous to get on a cartoon, or you have to be like one of these supreme voiceover people.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe I just maybe I have no talent.
No, let me ask you this question. Not in regards to that, but in the atmosphere of what we were talking about in Atlanta and in Adult Swim and stuff. How many people do you think were on an Adult Swim show as a voice? No, not saying how big or small, who were employed
Everybody.
there.
Everybody got to be somebody.
And like,
especially Aqua Team, like the editors both got parts, and I think
that does not happen normally. Like,
it was a very homegrown kind of a thing, you know?
No, well, that's what the beauty of it there.
That's why they exist in Atlanta. And, and I always felt like they weren't in New York and they weren't in LA, but they were in those places. But they just...
Yeah, but like barely.
New York, I don't know if there ever was a Cartoon Network office.
I think there had to have been.
When I was at C-Lab, we never went there.
Mm.
We were just in the apartment
maybe
that they
there
lived
wasn't.
in.
I was thinking, because I used to record all my stuff at some other studio. And then I was thinking, no, I did. But I think that was either, I don't even know if Disney must have a studio there. I know Nickelodeon does.
Did you watch Nickelodeon when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Pinwheel? Did you watch Pinwheel?
Wait a minute. Hold up. Don't say a word.
Around.
Yeah, look at my pinwheel, see what I found. Pinwheel, like pin me in the morning and pin me at night. Da, da, da.
It was like the green guy was like as disturbing a character as like Lady Aberlin on Mr. Rogers, like just these pissed off, shitty, drunken puppets.
My friend, we knew the parents. I used to work in Michigan every summer, and I was good friends with the parents of Brad Williams. Who's that, you ask?
Who's that?
Tony's baffled over there. He don't know who I'm talking about.
Tony is our engineer today.
No. Don't tell him who. Just make him. It's like write your own mystery. We have Miss Hoos.
He's like the smoking man. Our
hibachi chef. We're at Benihana right now.
No.
He designed, made, and performed all of the puppets from Pinwheel. And he tragically died in a car wreck before I ever met him. But his parents, they loved the theater because his son also used to do stuff before he got famous and moved to wherever they did Pinwheel. But those were all his designs and everything.
That's the hard part about being middle-aged is you've survived this far into life. And if you talk about anybody else, you're like, and they died in a plane crash.
Well,
and this person got their head cut off.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's perished except for us.
He was older. He was not of our generation. Gentleman. I mean, his parents, I'm sure they're both dead now. Because they were, when I knew him 15 or 20 years ago, they were pretty old.
Yeah.
But it was very tragic because he was like, what killed the Michigan left? There's a Michigan left thing where like to make a left, you don't get to make it at the light. Okay? It's like a traffic thing in Michigan, like on the highways or something. Mm-hmm. You have to go through the intersection, like halfway down, and then make a U-turn. They don't just let you make a left at the intersection. It's a lot of work. I don't know what they think that makes it easier or something. Like they can't have the left lane at the intersection. They have to have it further down. But they made a left turn and a car hit them. Not terribly. Everybody felt fine. And then it was one of those things like the next day, he had internal bleeding and didn't know about it.
I hate internal bleeding.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You don't know you're bleeding.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would prefer internal or external. External, it's like a horror show. I did watch, what's that movie? I watched The Substance last night.
Oh, good.
The Demi Moore movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize how campy and fun it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like some real. I mean, I guess I listened to some NPR show talking about it and trying to give it a lot of weight and gravitas.
That's the thing about Oscar season is you watch a movie that's been so hyped and you watch it and you're like, what the fuck is everyone talking about?
It was just like basically a lot of butts. Showed a lot of butts.
Yeah, which I like.
But I thought it was fun.
I like a good butt show.
And that girl was Andy McDowell's daughter, the other one.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I give it a 6
out
of 10.
Are we going to have a movie review?
6 out of 11. I give it a 6 out of 11.
So, do you notice that, like, with these shows that aren't the Muppets, whenever there's puppets, that the puppets are horrible?
Yeah, always.
Why did Jim Henson figure out puppets and everyone else is like, beats me? Here's my puppet. And you're like, immediately, that's a trash puppet.
I think it's because they have so much more money. I mean, think about it. When you watch those old ones, like the black and white Kermit the Frog, I'm like, well, that looks like garbage. It's just what they're doing is funny.
I feel like they still looked good.
No, they didn't. They look like those early Mickey Mouse costumes from like the opening
those early
of Disneyland.
Mickey Mouse costumes are pretty hellish.
Yeah, like
it's nightmare fuel.
We'll see you in your dreams.
That's what that Mickey sounds like.
Did you watch
the Great Space Coaster?
Yes. With was that the one? No. I'm thinking of Chuck McCann and Bob Denver with Far Out Space Nuts. Remember that one?
No, I don't know that one.
They were far out space nuts, man. They were humans, but it was one of those Sid and Marty Krofft. They were in a spaceship, but it was Bob Denver, Gilligan. No one under the age of 40
I would have loved to
knows
experience the Sid and Marty Krofft land in Atlanta. You know all about that?
My friend Brooks distinctly remembers going there. And
is that the CNN building?
Yeah, I think that's right. Or the CNN Center. I don't know what the hell they call it, but yeah. He said the only thing he really remembers a lot is they waited like 45 minutes and went on the ride that was a pinball. So you got in the pinball, but it was like you were the ball being played on the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Traumatizing. Well, at the office, they have that, at the Adult Swim office, they had that rendering from Sid and Marty, the world of Sid and Marty Krofft from when they opened. I don't know where the hell they got it, but they got all kind of shit in there. Nobody knows where the hell they got it. It's very neat. I've gone down quite a few YouTube rabbit holes looking up the world of Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yeah. I never watched one of the shows. Did you watch those shows?
Oh, yeah. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters?
Yeah.
Hello. That's how they always answered the phone.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was like they were all weird. He was like, it was a boy who found this one sea monster, basically like ran away from home because he was like, he didn't want to be mean and scary like the rest of the sea monsters. He was friendly. So he's like he's a black sheep. He's outcast by his family. And then
I relate.
Yeah. And then so he becomes friends with some little kid. And then there's the real fucked up one with Lidsville. That was great because Charles Nelson Riley was an evil wizard. I'm sorry, an evil magician in a land where all the hats talked.
Like a birthday party magician?
Yes. Like he wore a top hat and he was also painted all green or blue and had like red hair. I mean, nightmare inducing. Nightmare inducing. But Lidsville and the guy it was like Johnny and he had a little talking flute that was gold and be like, hey, let's go back to the place. It had just a little tiny talking mouth that you could tell this is as much movement as we can get out of this. We just gotta always do a real tight close up.
Another one of those shitty puppets.
Oh yeah. And the costumes were always freaky, but they were also kind of funky. The Bugaloos, where they were a
What's the difference between freaky and funky?
Well, freaky is a little scarier. I think funky's a little more stylish. You could have a funky living room and be like, this is nice. But a freaky living room is like, shit has happened in here that nobody wants to.
Chainsaw
or
Massacre.
just like a lot of bodily fluids and not even necessarily
It's like when you go to
murdery,
Graceland. Have you been to Graceland?
Oh, yeah.
You go to these tiny little rooms. You're like, how big was Elvis a leprechaun?
Yes.
Speaking of leprechaun.
They never talk about that. You know, Elvis was only 3 feet 4 inches tall.
What?
Yeah. They never talk about it.
Man.
He picked his band members were hand selected for their diminutive size.
You can never tell.
They paid
he's
on
like
many.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. That's why he had many. He used to play the ukulele, but it looked like a humongous, play soprano ukulele.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by I'm usually surprised by how small things are.
His
house. You go to England, everything, all the door frames are. I mean, it's perfect size for me because I'm like a hobbit.
I feel like a giant over there.
Yeah, people come over to my apartment and I feel like Gandalf has just walked in to my home because they're bumping their head. Because I get small apartments because I'm small.
You like it.
I like the small
You like
door
to
frame.
touch
I
all
like
the
the low
walls.
ceilings. I like people with their heads.
You want people
I
to
like
know-
people crouching, being
Yeah.
like,
You want them to know they're on your turf.
yeah, and I have them dress up like a wizard too when they come over.
Well, that's why it looks like Gandalf.
That's why no one
You
comes
leave
over because
that-
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm sending the costume over.
You have that gray robe and big hat hanging at the front of your door, so you got to put this in before.
I like it if you bump
You
into
enter.
a bunch of stuff.
They're still doing these dumb Lord of the Rings shows on Amazon.
Oh yeah, the Rings of Power.
Yeah,
I tried to watch it.
Come on, who cares?
Well,
They're spending millions of dollars. I don't think anybody's watching.
Nerds need content.
There's plenty of other shit. Plenty of other
Well,
stuff.
they got a new movie
watch.
coming out, like The Hunt for Gollum, where they're just like, now they're just coming up with shit. I
It's
think
all
Rings of
computer.
Power is based on some existing lore.
I'm sure. That's like when
But
you
now
watch.
The Hunt for Gollum, I think they're just like, it's like a room full of comedy writers. Like, what do we got? What do we got?
Yeah.
Gollum lives with a family.
All right. Can we get him?
Gollum is a pizza delivery
Guys,
boy.
Andy Serkis is available. He just called, seeing if we had any projects.
In fact, Andy Serkis is here.
He's writing. What if we did something with Gollum? Enough, Andy. Please. Wait a minute. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Forget about it. Forget it. My mom's texting me for no reason.
Can we do
whatsoever.
not disturb and put our
I did
phone
it.
away?
No, I did it. I got to keep the time on.
You got the timer on?
Oh, yeah, I got the timer on.
Because you don't want to spend a second longer doing this than you have to?
No, I know time is money. Tony's got a lot of stuff he's got to do. He was talking about.
Yeah. He's got someone coming in.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what the heck? It's the Bugaloos. It doesn't matter.
You think you're still on Sid and Marty Croft?
Yeah, I did go. The one time I went to a panel at Real Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, I went with Ned Hastings, and we went and saw the Sid and Marty Croft panel, which were the two of them. And they did nothing but fight the whole time. That's all they
why
did.
it didn't ever work out.
Well, and it would be like, he'd be like, I remember when we were doing Land of the Lost.
You goddamn idiot!
And he was like, no, that wasn't.
I wasn't there.
That was it.
You were in Mexico. I was in Spain.
He was like, we found a sweet little girl to play. That was the boy.
That was a boy.
The girl was on the Bugaloos.
Everyone had a bowl cut. You couldn't tell.
It was stupefying that they ever got anything made. Because in the 1 hour, they couldn't even let one of them finish the sentence, let alone...
They must see each other at the airport before the con and just be like, "Ugh, groan."
God, look, we got 1 hour, just keep it together.
Look, I want you to lay off this time. If you bring up my goddamn wife in front of all the kids...
The woman's a saint, and you know it.
Don't you be talking ill about my wife.
Yeah.
The way she suffered.
She went through things no person should go through.
I love meeting people when you do a con. I love running into them at the airport or having to go into the car with them on the way to the con, and you're all like, "So what cartoon are you, or what are you?" And last time I did that, I rode with Hercules.
Kevin Sorbo.
No, the cartoon Hercules, the Disney Hercules. Tate Donovan.
Oh, yeah.
And
How was he?
He was just in holdovers. Super nice.
That's
but you know
nice.
those people that are bigger than you don't know what they're thinking, and they're being really
Yeah.
nice to you, but they might be thinking, get me out of here.
See, I never think anyone's being nice to me. I don't think they're being mean. I just think they're always like, I don't talk to anybody because I'm always worried, like, I don't want to be, they're about to go into this sycophantic situation, which some of them probably love it, but like, I don't engage unless they engage. They want to talk to me. I'm happy to talk. They don't want to talk. You're not going to hear a peep
It's like
out
me
of
in a barber chair. People start talking to me when I'm in the barber chair, and I'm like, this is a relaxing, soothing time for me. I don't want to talk about my shitty life with you because I'm really honest when I talk to people. When people say, how are you doing? I tell them how I'm doing. And I don't want to.
They're not ready for that.
No, no one wants to hear how I'm doing, especially the barber.
Yeah.
The barber's eyes are always like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. This guy, I don't need to know about how much your lawyer costs.
Slit their list.
Blood is streaming down my face because they've slit their wrists while they cut my hair.
It's like, what was that? Yeah, like everyone's
It's like the old lady in
sitting
Airplane.
next to Robert Urich. Yes, in Airplane.
Robert Urich. I love how you get everyone's names wrong.
Wasn't it?
No.
Who is it? Oh, Robert Urich
was in Vegas. And he drove his car into his apartment, which is the
Who's that
exhaust
guy?
from the car must have created some sort of film on all the windows. And
Who's
cooking.
the guy from Robert?
It was Robert something. After the last podcast, I had to that made me dive into a bunch of different things where I had to find out what we were talking about because it's just two old guys being like, what was it called? Was it called this? We got one word right in the title. But I looked up the computer wore tennis shoes, but that's like a whole universe.
Oh, the Medville College.
It's Medfield.
Or Medfield, okay.
You got a lot of words, like you were so close on a lot of words. You said
That's
Greg T. Nelson. You said Greg T. Nelson.
I
You're
know
like,
it's Greg T. Nelson.
No, you said Greg.
Maybe it sounded like Greg.
No, you said Greg T. Nelson, which is a totally different T. Nelson.
I didn't even know there was a Greg T. Nelson.
Greg T. Nelson is like, that's not me. I'm not him.
Oh, no, that's what I thought by Greg T. Nelson.
That's who I'm
Just
always
some
thinking
guy.
about. I went
He
to
was
high school with
visiting
him. He
from
kicked the shit out of
Indiana.
me.
Yeah.
But
did you get Blowhard's name right or whatever?
I did get it.
What was it again?
Nick in Katanawat, who was a production assistant on Aqua Teen, just texted me, and all he wrote was "Ginger Blow Bomb!" !
I got a lot of I heard. My friend Bart sent me a text that said, "Am I the only one? How many people do you think are looking up the name Ginger Blow Bomb other than me?"
She has a LinkedIn, so hopefully this helps. But anyway, now I can't think of it. Medfield. But that's where the Nutty Professor takes place.
Mm-hmm.
The Shaggy DA.
Yeah.
And then the Kurt Russell trilogy, college trilogy.
Yeah, what were the
So
other
I guess
ones?
there's references to Medfield in the parks. And in the Carousel of Progress, I think there's something, and no tennis shoes allowed.
I want to say there's
little Easter eggs planted in the parks.
I think there's like I think in one of the scenes of the Carousel of Progress, there's a pennant, like on the wall in the kids' room or something that says Medville.
And then
College.
the train that says next stop Medfield, and last stop was whatever Medfield's competing town was.
Ooh.
But the one thing I noticed because I started watching the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, and the guy who was like the professor, the cool professor that all the kids liked, he was the voice of like every single commercial in the 80s.
Who was it?
I can't think of who it was, but I heard this voice and I'm like, this guy, I can imagine him talking about yogurt or McDonald's.
He was the cool professor?
He was the nice professor. Not
Nice.
the dean, the fucking dean. The deans in colleges are like, it must be the easiest character to write.
And then there's always like two guys who are very similar, but not the same person. Wally Cox and Joe Flynn are like 2 degrees away from being almost the same and were used interchangeably, I think, in a lot of Disney things. But like Joe Flynn
is one of those, the voice of the Pirates of the Caribbean, where he says foolish, or also he does Haunted Mansion. He's like foolish mortals. It's like as you're going in, you hear this guy's voice. It's like this
that
classic
guy
Disney
was
voice.
Paul Frees, which I have the craziest album that he made a thing, and I think he made it to give to the studios as a way to like hire me for my voiceover gigs.
Mm-hmm.
He did a series of covers, and he did his impressions, of which he does terrible impressions. Terrible.
Most VO people just have like a genetics, like, they're like gifted, and they have this weird one voice that they do. You're one of them. You have this one voice. You don't really, like you say, admittedly, that you're not doing 10 different voices.
Yeah.
You're doing Dana. Everything sounds like Dana. Maybe when you're being a grandma or something, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But you say basically everything you do basically sounds the same. But I like this idea that there's all these classic VO guys who just have one voice that they do, and they can't do anything else.
Well, they're not. And also, I feel like a lot of those guys that you ask them, like, okay, so this guy was his impersonation. That sounds nothing like him, but like this guy was his impersonation of W.C. Fields, and this guy was his impersonation of Groucho Marx, and this character was his impersonation of so and so. It doesn't actually sound like the person, but they're like, oh yeah, that was him doing.
I love seeing people do bad impersonations, and I think it makes me think of like Robin Williams, like. The impersonations he chose to do were like the impersonations that everyone did, like Jack Nicholson. Like everyone did Jack Nicholson in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
My daughter and I watched Aladdin about a week ago, which she watched
when
the
that
whole
came
way
out.
through.
It was crazy. Everyone was like, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened. I remember thinking like Aladdin was amazing.
It was great. I feel like
that chase in the cave when he's on the flying carpet.
I feel like it was the last
computer
great one
graphics
before they went down a little bit, right? They did Beauty and the Beast.
They had a trilogy.
But they did
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, and that was it.
Was Aladdin before Beauty and the Beast?
I don't remember.
I think
it must have ended with Lion King.
I think the guy, yeah.
Because Lion King was like, Oscar, let's give him the Oscar.
Right, yeah.
It's like Return of the King.
Yeah.
They weren't going to give him any. Then they were like, well, I was thinking Aristocats and stuff, but that's before. That's when they didn't know what they were doing.
Once you get into those like Meet the Robinsons, Chicken Little, Bolt, those like
I loved Disney when I was a kid. Obviously, we both loved Disney, but the first time I saw a movie alone, my mom walked me to the bridge. We had a movie theater at the end of our street, but it was like maybe 2 miles away. My mom walked me to the bridge. I walked all the way to the movies. Didn't realize it would take me a long time to walk. I probably like left 5 minutes before the movie started, not knowing it was a 20-minute walk. And it was to see the Snow White re-release. And I walked in to the theater, and it was totally dark, and the dwarves were in the cave, and they just started singing Hi-Ho, and it was just one of the best feelings of my life was entering this dark theater alone and I felt like I had just entered the minds of the dwarves, and that's like my favorite. I remember cartoon.
This because you sent me a text about it when this happened last year. First time you went by yourself.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to like go see every Disney movie that would come out at the theater, and oftentimes alone because none of my friends would admittedly say they liked animation or Disney, but I loved like The Rescuers Down Under.
Oh yeah.
Black Cauldron, like whatever came out, whatever was coming out, I was like super into.
Yeah, I always liked all of them.
And I thought it was like amazing shit. I went and saw Black Cauldron with my son recently in the past year, and it was not good. But I also thought it wasn't like the worst Disney movie ever made.
It's a troubled movie.
It's like they didn't know who they were.
Yeah, and apparently when you hear like the old school guys were working with the new guys, and it was sort of like half the people wanted to push it this direction, the other half were saying, no, it's got to be like this, I think a lot of people don't realize, if you've ever been involved in making a movie, how easy it is for so many things to make it terrible.
I always feel like movies are not good because of the planning or the casting or the writing or the directing. It's always great because of kismet. It's like fate has chosen this movie to be good. Everything worked out. everyone has to like try their hardest to make something good. But like, because I didn't figure this out until I did research on Ghostbusters. I wrote a whole album about Ghostbusters, and I did a song about each one, and I read the novelization, and I played the video game.
You read the novels?
I always read the novelizations of books. Like I did a song about Clue. I read the whole novelization because I just like to find any details that I can like.
Was this
put into the
like
song.
Written after the movie came out?
You know how it was in the 80s. These books were always. It's like
so you can
there's
be
like
I'm reading Ma. Don't worry. And you're really reading Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I was reading Fletch and Karate Kid.
Right.
I was reading these things.
But like, I guess my question is, I mean, Fletch were books before they made the movies.
Yes, but then they were repackaged with Chevy Chase on the cover.
Yeah, they just put his face on it.
But anyway,
like the Ghostbuster came after the movie, right?
I'm sure.
But it wasn't like
sometimes these things are written in tandem.
Source material.
No, there's no.
Okay, that's a matter. Yeah.
But anyway, like I did research on this thing, and I realized, Dan Aykroyd hands in this script that's like 3,000 pages long, and the cast is totally different. And Rick Moranis is supposed to be John Candy, and Ernie Hudson is supposed to be Eddie Murphy, and like the best lines in the show are improvised that day.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just like movies are just like if fate is shining upon you. Yeah. And I feel like that's a big reason why Aqua Teen oddly works is because it was just fate, was happy with this thing. Like that's why Meatwad, Frylock, and Shaker, like it's this, and Carl are like this perfect little tiny cast of characters that it just works. And then you see people try this a million times. What if these fuckers were in with these people that hate each other, or these totally different things, or these weird things are in an apartment together? What if they're in an apartment together? That never. But the thing never works.
The thing with that is, I'm not saying that they were bad because they weren't, but the difference at Adult Swim also is that Adult Swim gives everybody a chance. Like, if someone first off would have pitched that idea for fast food products living in a house, they would have told them, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Please finish mopping the floors and finish your shift. Secondly, once it came out, the fact that I wonder how many terrible ideas that are pitched and rejected. If you let them make a season of that show, whatever that show is, how many might end up finding footing because they're given a chance? You know what I mean? Or even pilots that were made and not, because Adult Swim is very unlike a lot of other places in that Lazo gave a lot of people a chance that would not have gotten a chance a lot of other places. And it's because they worked extra hard, made it for next to no money, things like that. But it's interesting to look at Family Guy. Got canceled after 3 seasons. Now the damn thing's still on.
Hey, so this is Chris. So if you'd like to advertise on this podcast, please write us at mattersnotpod, mattersnotpod@gmail.com. And in the meantime, while we get that going, I've set up a GoFundMe to help us cover studio costs and Dana's beverages, etc. You can find that and links to everywhere the show is streaming, as well as all our social media links at linktr.ee/mattersnotpod. mattersnotpod. I love spelling out websites, and I bet you love hearing them too. I don't know how to tell you where our link tree is, but our link tree's got links to everything. So just go there and you'll be great. Everything will be great. This is great.
That's like there's a show called Nonsense, a theatrical show that
I remember.
I think it opened off-Broadway. It was an off-Broadway show. We'll get to the reasons why it's still played, but when they opened it, the guy who produced it raised enough money, no matter what, so that it was going to be open for 1 full year. Because people who want to maybe on the fence about go seeing it, like, all right, it's closed after a month. But when you start seeing the ads of like now in its 6th month, even if nobody showed up, they'd be like, oh, well, that must be pretty good if it's been running for this long. And then a year, forget about it. And it ended up working because it's still being performed somewhere here. I mean, in the world.
Chicago had like something called Bleacher Bums.
I remember Bleacher Bums.
That was like a long running show.
Ron Palillo was in Bleacher Bums, who played Horshack on Welcome Back, Kotter. He was one of the guys, because it was supposed to be at Wrigley Field, right? It was a Chicago play.
Yeah.
But I think at some point they were doing it in New York. But
it's pretty brave. Yeah. It's pretty brave to be like, I'm going to do a play about sports. Because I know those audiences love to mingle.
That's very true. I used to work at the Drama Bookshop in New York, and we would always get tickets to different shows for free because, like, the producers would come by, like, we got a lot of extra seats for the matinee or whatever. We went and saw this show called Take Me Out, which was about it was a baseball play, but it was basically like the star, I don't know, like A-Rod, right? But not anyone specifically, but it was about the biggest star in baseball comes out as being gay, right? But part of this show, why it was sort of infamous is the wrong word, but it had these shower scenes. It's like in the first act, there was like a shower scene and everybody coming on stage fully nude and taking shower, like these shower heads would come down from the ceiling, shower starts. And the whole point is like everybody's in there playing and you know, snapping each other with towels and having fun. And then act 2, after the guy says he's gay, it's shower time again, but everybody's, you know, they're all in their own weird little corner and kind of trying to hide from the guy and stuff. But we went there and we were like, you know, we had the seats they gave us. We were like in the second or third row. And there's a guy in front of us in the front row who had a big, you know, those guys in New York with like the old big brown bag, Bloomingdale shopping bag, and it's just filled with like weird junk mail and catalogs and stuff. Like,
their bills.
What are they carrying in there? Why do they need it everywhere? Like, they don't go anywhere without it. It was one of those guys. As soon as the first shower scene started, he reaches into the bag, pulls out binoculars. Front row.
Nobody loves getting naked like actors. They love. I mean, I saw so many plays in Chicago because my brother went to the Goodman Theater School, and he always was taking me to shows. I saw so many plays where people were getting naked and peeing on stage and masturbating on stage,
Jesus.
And I was just like, man, these people love getting naked on stage in front of everybody.
I guess
and doing
if you're
stuff.
naked on stage, you don't have to act as much. Nobody can notice. You're like, I didn't really believe him. They're like, nope. Just see how weird his balls look or stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you
can't fake that.
The one boob is bigger than the other one.
Yeah,
I was struck with the amount of nudity in that Substance movie.
You were struck by it.
I was shocked how much how much was in it.
I was shocked with how fast I could get my penis out of my jeans. I was amazed.
Well, we're all amazed at how quickly you can do that.
It's a lot faster than I thought.
It's a talent.
Yeah. Sometimes I haven't even undone the zipper.
Hello, Demi. Done. Finished.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I remember when I worked at Film Forum in New York, which was like the best job I ever had because they have the best popcorn. Angelica and Film Forum have like the best popcorn. LA has shitty popcorn. I could talk about it for days.
What's so shitty about it? I noticed something about you and food.
You're
a real picky guy.
I'm a very picky guy. But they put something called Flavacol or Flavacol in popcorn. It's the fake butter that makes popcorn orange. And it's I used to have an allergic reaction to it. I don't anymore, but it used to like make me sweat. So I would like go to the movies, eat the popcorn, I'd start sweating, it would fog up my 3D glasses. I'd have a horrible time. But
the movie wasn't even in 3D. That's the weird.
I always am hoping it is, and I walk in there with my old school blue and red 3D glasses. I'm like that. I'm like Casey Shamasco in Back to the Future.
Yes.
But we could go to any movie theater in the city that was independent for free. We could go see anything we wanted, just like you had this hookup. I had this hookup. I didn't have to pay for movies ever. And that makes me think of my like right at the end of my time in Libertyville, Illinois. I would all my friends worked in the movie theaters and the video stores. I didn't have to pay for any movies. I would be like brought up into the projector's booth. I'd smoke weed with the projectionist. I'd I remember one day, it was like one of the best days of my life. I watched Braveheart. I got high. Well, I got high in the projection booth, watched Braveheart, and everything was free. They gave me popcorn for free. The movie was for free. The weed was for free. And then I went and saw Clueless. I saw Braveheart and Clueless in the same day, and I didn't pay for anything. And that's how it was at Blockbuster, and I would go and I'd try to like rent a movie, and the kid behind the counter would be like, it's like I was a gangster. He'd be like, no, sir.
Well,
your money's no good here.
How did the kid know you?
Everybody knew me because I was in the plays, and I was like the funny person. And
that's why Blockbuster closed. They went bankrupt giving you free movies.
I asked my friend who worked at Blockbuster, do you judge people based on what they rent? She's like, every time.
Yeah, you have to. It seems... But then again, you're working at Blockbuster instead of like the cool video store. Blockbuster didn't have a deep cuts of video stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I disagree a little bit because I watched every single video in the Blockbuster, especially like the classics section. Like my friend and I, we would like rent a bunch of classics every day and watch them. And
yeah,
we
but
loved
you know,
that
like,
shit. But we didn't have like, did they have the indies that? I mean, it was nothing like when I went to New York for the first time and walked into Kim's Video.
Right.
And I walked into Kim's Video and they had like a Louis Malle section, and I was a big fan of Louis Malle, and I was like speechless. I was like, I'd walked into church or something. It was the most amazing.
In, Atlanta that has like the gray
Videodrome.
Yeah, like any Blockbuster had a little bit, but not like a curated.
It wasn't run by cinephiles,
right?
Like Kim's and Videodrome
and
some other places I've experienced in my life.
I'm not saying you couldn't find something good there.
But they would have like 20. I remember Blockbuster. They would have like 20 of one movie.
Yeah. It's like their model was like when Independence Day came out, they would buy 200 copies of it.
3 shelves of Independence Day.
Yes. So everybody could watch it. And then in like 3 months, they would sell them for $5 a piece, knowing that they had already made their money off of them.
It was a very good business model. Hence, they're filing for bankruptcy and being eradicated from the earth. Guys, I had to interrupt the podcast for a second because we're about to start the interview, but the audio is a little wonky. Bad internet connection. Nobody's fault. But yeah, it's a little weird or a little bad, but you still get the gist of our conversation. So we apologize. We're new at this. I'm new at this. It's my first day. Okay, here we go.
I got a new car on Saturday night. They came, brought the new car, took the old car away. The car...
How do you get them to come to you?
Gotta know people, man. I've gotten every car from the same guy.
Yeah.
Maldino. The keys now, there is a fob, but the keys are just a credit card. However, he said don't keep it close to your phone. Because you know how hotel room keys, if you keep them next to your phone, they're like demagnetized for some
countless times
reason.
I've had to go back to the desk.
It drives me insane. We have spaceships flying to Mars, and no one can figure out how to have a room
We've
key.
talked about how this is a shitty future that we have.
Yeah. Anyway, so now I got to carry this cockamamie card around in my pocket. There's also a fob. I just read today there's some kind of proximity fob. So like when I approach the car, it should unlock, but it's not doing that. So there's and the whole car is like runs on Google Android something. So like it's possible the whole thing could just brick itself. You know what I mean?
This is the car that I got after tour. It's one of those things where you start the car by pushing a button. So you don't need your keys. You only need your keys to lock it after you've left the car.
Yes.
But my thing now is that I'm always taking my keys out as I approach the car because I've done that for 35, 34 years. Yeah. And now I have the keys in my hand, and I don't know what to do with it, so I put the keys in between my legs while I drive. When I get out of the car, the keys either slide down the seat to the back of the seat,
because you forget,
or as I get out, the keys always fall out of the car and land on the ground, and now I'm always picking my keys up on the ground. I'm like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I'm the exact opposite of you now, because I have had my last 3 cars were ones you just had to keep in your pocket and you just push a button to start it. Now I feel like I've taken 4 steps back. I got to touch the door handle with it's like a credit card. That's all it looks like. Plus, I don't know how much it costs to replace them. I'm sure they're expensive, and it's a lot easier to lose a credit card than it is.
Does it go into the phone case wallet?
Well, it will fit in there.
So you have a wallet and a wallet case for your phone.
Well, I always have my wallet. Yes. Where is this thing? This thing. This is it.
That's your wallet? That's your fob.
That's your key card.
You're going to lose that.
No, that's the key card. This is the fob. This is supposed to, as I walk close, it's supposed to go ding and unlock.
But it doesn't attach to a keychain?
Yeah, it does. It has a little thing in there.
Oh, okay.
But this, you touch the handle, and then the handle comes up, you open it.
I wonder if anyone's going to enjoy this part of the podcast.
I like it.
Oh. Well, hey, our guest is here.
Whoa!
Guys, we have we have our first guest today. This is Ronnie. Is it Nielsen or Nelson?
Neely.
I knew.
Because we were talking about Craig T. Nelson.
I can change it to Nelson.
No, that's not necessary. But this is nice. We can see you and we can talk to you this way.
Oh, God,
yeah, I can't see you.
us.
I'm a little disappointed.
Oh, good.
Sure.
No, we don't want him to see us.
No.
Did he
Are
say
you
yes?
guys nude or something?
Yeah, let him put it on. Come on. I'm trying to think the last time you and I talked to each other. What was that for?
That was for Matt Malero's Meat Kingdom
That's right.
series.
That's
a month ago.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun. Good time.
Great fun. My worry is that we didn't get to try the food.
I know. I feel gypped in that department.
Yeah.
But it looked good. It looked nice.
It was the roast beef. What was it? It was like
He cooks meats?
a standing
Yes.
roast.
Some sort of roast that took them 14 hours
Yes.
to do. And
That's right.
we were
That's when you
there for
got
a
time.
brief sliver of time of that
Yes.
process.
Thank you for being here, Ronnie. I appreciate it. What did you just do, Dana? You took pills?
Mm-hmm.
What are those for?
Pep pills. Doctor says so I don't fall asleep during movie shoots. The Judy Garland cocktail.
You're like a Hollywood child actor.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to school on set.
Yeah. Move over, different strokes.
You think Mickey Rooney behaved in the school, in the on-set school? I bet he was fucking around.
No way. Tony's gonna get the thing on so we can all see each other. Look, we're in space.
Yeah.
My
We're
gosh.
dead. We're coming to you from heaven.
I'll go look out the window. I could probably see you up there.
Yeah, we're looking down at you from our cloud.
We're about to experience some acid rain.
That's right.
It looks like.
I love it in here.
Yeah, it's very
Great
relaxing.
job, Tony.
Good job, Tony. Yeah,
Great
the
job.
ceiling in this recording studio is all cotton,
You can
and then
see
there's
it.
lighting underneath the cotton. I'm talking for the audience. The audience. I'm thinking about the audience.
Oh, I'm thinking of our guest.
Someone has to think about
It's
the
a
audience.
guest.
Well, Ronnie's a pro.
I don't know their audience.
he's
just
a pro.
Listeners. Someone who might happen to be listening right now.
The guy
Yeah,
that's listening.
he's listening.
Ronnie, where are you located?
I'm in Minnesota, so it's
Oh, cool.
cold.
Yeah, it's the coldest place in the country, just about. I have a
I'd
brother.
believe it.
I have a brother that lives in St. Paul.
Oh, right on. Okay, so yeah.
He's a teacher. So you live in Minnesota, and why did you? First off, thank you for not being mad about our podcast. It's supposed to be a rewatch. We didn't talk about the second episode of Aqua Teen once this whole hour.
Yeah, it's not really a rewatch.
It's not a rewatch. We're just trying to trick people into watching the show. But thank you for not getting mad about us having a Aqua Teen show.
Well, I'm not mad, but my lawyers are pissed off, so you'll have
they're
to talk
always-
with them.
That's just them trying to bill you for something. Don't ever talk to them. Don't have like a text conversation with a lawyer. That's gonna cost.
That's
you.
called proof right there.
Yeah.
That they were working on something for you.
Don't do that. Well, thank you again for not being upset. And so we're new at podcasting, although we've both had podcasts before, but we're new at this podcast.
That's right.
But you're a pro at this. How many episodes of the name of your podcast is Dancing is Forbidden. How many podcasts have you made?
I don't even know, to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Hundreds?
What season are you on?
I just finished season 5, so however many episodes of Aqua Teen that is, but I also do interviews. I covered the whole Colon movie film for theaters. That was like 8 episodes.
Wow.
I've done the Aquadonk side pieces, so I've got a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't keep track.
So maybe like 100 or so, or something.
Over 100, yeah, absolutely.
Over 100.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about like the Winchester Mystery House? Like when you run out of all this stuff, what will happen when you finally exhausted the catalog?
Well, Dana, then I'll be free. Then I'll finally get to live my life and do whatever I want.
You're not just going to shift to another show, like the Brack Show or something?
No, actually, I guess I'll announce it here. I am toying around with a friend to do a King of the Hill podcast, but it's not going to be like my Aqua Teen podcast. It's going to be more conversational and less down in the weeds.
Cool. What made you choose Aqua Teen?
It's my favorite show. I grew up on it with the DVDs, watching those over and over again, and just being raised on that Dadaist humor.
You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it live?
I would occasionally. I would see it on Adult Swim, but I grew up pretty poor, so sometimes we wouldn't have cable, so I would only have my DVDs, and that was it. Yes. So then, as an adult, Aqua Teen was coming back with a movie. And I was like, I better start watching that show again so I could see that movie and remember what it's about. And then I was like, wow, this is way better than I remember it.
It's way better than this movie.
Yeah, it's called Plantasm.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie.
Yes, yeah. But I was
the first one.
blown away how great it still was. I mean, it was always my favorite show, so that says a lot that I thought it was even better than I remembered.
Why did you like it?
Because I had never seen anything else like it before. It's so unique.
Is that what kind of person you are? Are like, what kind of person were you in school growing up?
Probably quiet, and I'd like to think funny. Hopefully.
Yeah. Do you like comedy?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's where I come to it from, is a comedy fan. I mean, it's kind of funny growing up on Aqua Teen. Now I love so many stand-ups who were in Aqua Teen as guests, just coincidentally.
Yeah, I remember we loved some of those first guest stars. We loved their comedy. Like I remember running into the editing booth to show Ned, Patton Oswalt, or we loved Todd Barry. I remember.
Yes, he's my favorite.
Dave and I, we went and saw David Cross live, but we saw Todd Barry live together. We just loved it when comedians would come to town. And there was that great early aughts group of comedians that all went on to become like great cartoon voices.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I remember we really loved these guys, really celebrated. We listened to Todd Barry albums. We listened to David Cross albums. Like we love this stuff.
I'm talking to David on Wednesday.
Cross?
Yes,
David
yes,
Cross?
sir.
You know, it's funny. Yesterday I was doing my cameos, and somebody wanted a quote from something, and I had to watch the episode, but it was the Dumber Dolls episode. And I remember and I was watching it yesterday thinking, I forgot how good this is.
Yeah, that's
it's very
one of the
funny.
best.
And he's great in it, David Cross. And that was like an early one, right? I mean, that's like probably
episode
first season.
10.
There you go.
I remember when Mike Lazo got everybody together at William Street, and he showed us an episode of what was Mr. Show, which was David Cross's TV show on HBO, and he showed it to everybody, and it had already been on HBO and was like done. But he's like, "What would you guys think if I aired this at 11 o'clock?" And I remember saying, what my response was, that I think it's a good way to make kids stop watching Cartoon Network. But that was Mike Lazo testing the waters for what if we start having live action in Adult Swim, which we can call the dark times.
Did you like any of the live action, Ronnie?
Yeah, I did. I did. I mean, I love Tim and Eric's stuff, and they did that Steve Brule show with John C. Reilly. I think is brilliant.
I love that one.
Yes, you mentioned the good stuff.
Check it out.
I shouldn't be negative.
Check it out. All the Tim and Eric stuff is great.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, I come to it for comedy, really. So I don't care what it is, if it's live action or animation.
Yeah. I remember having a lot of very strange but positive experiences because I was in one of the first two that they did. I think that was live action called Saul of the Mole Men.
Yeah, right. I remember that.
And the idea for it sounded spectacular. The pilot was super expensive. They spent tons of money, a big sound stage. And then when it was time to shoot the show, they literally did it in a room probably smaller than what we're in right now. It was like an office building that they just painted the back wall green, and that was it. And there were funny things, but it was not successful.
Why do you think, Ronnie, that Aqua Teen has like risen to as like the cream of the crop of Adult Swim? Why is it a show?
Wait a minute. Maybe he doesn't think it's the cream of the crop.
Oh, come on. He's hosting a whole podcast about it.
Yeah, but he got locked into this podcast. Then a new show could have come out and should have been like, man, I wish I would have done that one instead. That one was way better.
But why do you think that, let's forget what Dana said and go back to what I said. But why do you think that this show is like kind of synonymous with like Adult Swim? Why is it like the #1 Adult Swim show?
Before I answer that, I do want to shout out Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, another amazing live action show that Dana was on.
It was all right.
To MC Chris's question, I really think, and this isn't to imply that the other teams didn't work hard on their shows, because they did, but having talked to so many of you guys who worked on it, I think it's that it was a really small core group of people that were really making this show for themselves, like trying to make each other laugh with it and just trying to make something that they loved. And that seemed to kind of be it. And I think that really resonates with people, and especially having a consistent group of people working on it, I think it didn't really lose sight of itself, as a lot of shows do when they get new showrunners or something like that.
I also wonder if it's too a little bit like Aqua Teen did not have a very strong agenda. Like, they said like the first one, we were like, well, there had to be detectives. They had to do something. Then after that first, we're like, they don't have to do anything. We can just do whatever we want. They had this sort of, they were freer to to do that stuff and make each other laugh and things, rather than having to be like, well, no, they are designing women. They've got to be designing something. It's still that, they got to work at the cake shop or whatever it is.
Although, I mean, the first season, was made a year before it aired. So it's like they really were making it for themselves, because nobody was seeing this. Nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you didn't really connect with fans in any way. And like we said at the last podcast, they didn't really go to cons and connect with fans. And it wasn't until a little bit later that they started to do that. But for a long time, they had no sense of what people thought of it or if it was good. I don't know if anyone was like looking at ratings except for Lazo. I mean, maybe they were. I don't know.
Well, somebody must have, because they had to sell all those advertisements.
Yeah.
And people started, I remember very early on the catchphrase from one of the upfronts was that tells you how long ago it was. They had more 18 to 34-year-old viewers than Letterman, Leno, and somebody else combined.
Wow.
At that same time slot, which was like the magic number for advertisers. Like, you want to put your product in front of eyes of 18 to 35-year-olds, which is like the golden demographic. That's why I think Adult Swim was making money hand over fist.
Has this podcast that you've done, has it changed your life in any way?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I got to be in an episode of Aqua Teen because of it, which I never anticipated. I mean, I get to talk to you guys.
You anticipated it a little bit. That's why you did it.
No, I didn't think anybody would care. at all. And I thought if I got lucky, I would get to interview one of you guys, and then that would be it, and I'd never hear from you again. But that's not been the case. I've been fortunate to, make Meat Kingdom with Matt Malero. We do that a couple times a month, or just get to talk to you guys, interview you guys. I mean, Chris, you were my first guest that I ever had on the podcast.
Oh, really? I thought have I done it twice?
You did it once. It was when you were doing your last tour.
Oh, wow.
That was the name of it. And so we talked more about your music and the music of MCP Pants for that. But yeah, I mean, that was like a big deal. I never thought I would get to talk to you guys, and you were the very
I'm a
first
big
one.
deal. I'm a big deal. You're the one person that feels this way. But what about your like personal life? I mean, you have a job.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I work at Target. I work in retail.
So has it made like life just, has it altered your life in any way, your personal life in any way? Or is it just like this great thing that you have that's a part of your life that you get to you have this, I don't know if you'd call it a hobby or if you'd say it was your career but
I would call it a hobby probably.
It's like you're Batman. You have like 2 lives.
Yeah, I mean, that is what it feels like, honestly, because, I'm working at Target, then I'm coming home and like I get to interview David Cross or whoever, it feels like. So, but like I'm wearing a shirt for this band called Glad to Be Dead, and they listen to my podcast. I actually just saw them yesterday. I went to their gig and like I got this shirt for free from them and everything because they love the show.
Were you on the list?
Well, I paid to get in. I guess I could have asked to get on the list. But
Glad to Be Dead.
Yes.
Come on, Glad to Be Dead. Don't make him pay next time.
He's saying he was supporting the arts by buying his own ticket. Anyway.
Yeah.
They gave you a T-shirt.
Yeah, they gave the shirt was worth more than the ticket, so it's all right.
I want to rag on the band. I want to rag on Glad to Be Dead. What kind of music is it?
They're a deathcore band, so they're very extreme. Very
is that what kind of music you like?
I like all kind. I mean, I'm wearing a Yes hat too. If you like 70s progressive rock.
Yeah, that's the whole spectrum there.
I don't care.
There was one time where Yes had a music video for One, and I think there were like 15 different versions of it. And it was like such a cool thing on MTV. Yeah. What is it called?
Leave It.
Yeah, Leave It. And it had like 15 different versions of this music video. It was the only time anyone had ever done that. And it was so cool.
It was all the same song.
It was a gimmick.
But different.
They had different videos for
it.
So everyone was like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened.
And then they put an album out that was just that song 15 times.
Yeah. You know what makes me feel good about those old bands is it like you listen to their albums and you hear their hit, and then they have 8 songs that nobody knows. And it makes me feel good about my albums, which nobody knows.
Most of the songs.
All the songs.
Oh. You're like the rest of all the albums.
I have like one song.
The hit makers.
But if I feel like if I make an album and one song is good, I don't beat myself up because I'm like,
they can't all be winners.
The greatest bands don't have like an album that's just hits unless they're the Beatles. And then I think about the Beatles. I'm like, oh, fuck the Beatles, man. Why were they? How come they never had a bad song?
But guess what? Because there were 4 of them. It's only one of you.
Mm.
If you had 3 guys in the MC Chris band, you'd probably have 3 hits.
There would have been a lot of infighting.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about where to order your chicken from and give a lot of.
Is this popcorn not good enough for you?
Yes. This isn't like my New York popcorn.
Be like Sid and Marty
He's
Krofft.
just talking that the popcorn in New York is better than LA popcorn.
Oh my God.
You disagree?
No, I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know. I don't remember the New York, but I think it's because he said they were using this clearly like asbestos-laden old weird flavoring in the New York popcorn.
I finish my popcorn before the trailers are done.
I would venture to question if no place has that kind of stuff on the popcorn anymore because it came out like it just causes lung cancer or something.
No, it's on everything. It's at every movie theater in LA. There's maybe Quentin Tarantino's theater, the New Beverly doesn't do it.
I thought you said the New York place was the one that put that stuff on it.
No. Every other place does. New York didn't. So it was like naked. It was like
clean
naked.
Living. I get it.
No
okay.
butter, just salt.
All right, okay.
Ronnie, how do you take your popcorn?
As much butter and salt as you've got.
Yeah.
Put it in my arteries.
Yeah, I want it soft a little bit. I want I put so much
you want
that
it saturated?
Fake butter stuff.
You want it saturated?
I want it fully mixed though, because I get the box. I pour it in the box so I can shake it around more.
Ronnie, what's your movie candy?
My movie candy? I like hot tamales, those little red spicy things.
Jesus
classic.
Christ.
That's a classic.
Dana,
Ronnie.
what's your movie candy?
I don't know if I have a candy.
Did you not eat
I
candy?
mean, when I was little, I would get Milk Duds.
I love Milk Duds. That's
but
my
I don't
movie
eat
candy.
a lot of. I don't get candy at the anymore. Mostly I would ever get popcorn, or sometimes if it was pump your own, or no, they had to pump it. I get nachos. Love those nachos, and I want that cheese. I want the cheese as
From the machine.
unnaturally colored. I want it like the same color of like a construction cone.
It's got like the
like that bright
jalapeno.
orange. Like there's no real cheese in it whatsoever.
Caution, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want it like safety orange colored and nothing natural about it. I love that. I'm all over that.
Ronnie, I assume it's cold right now.
Yes, sir.
What's your weather like in Minnesota right now?
It actually snowed. It hasn't snowed that much recently, but it did snow yesterday. It's still on the ground, believe it or not.
Yeah. Is that difficult?
We don't
have snow here in LA.
So I'm used to
Oh,
it.
you're from Illinois. I'm from Illinois. Where in Illinois?
Yeah. About an hour and change outside of Chicago, a small town called Marengo.
I'm from Libertyville. You ever heard of that?
Marengo. That sounds like one of the Native American casinos.
It was named
playing
after
this
a
weekend
French
at the
town,
Marengo
so-
Resorts. A French town?
Yeah, it was named after a French town.
Oh, look at that nice can koozie you have.
He has a Master Shake can koozie. Ronnie, what nationality are you?
Nationality, American.
Oh,
good call. See how he just dodged your agenda?
what's your ancestry?
Oh, Italian, German, Irish.
Mix.
A mix.
Yes.
All the mix. 23andMe.
Yeah. We'll wait on the results to come back. I'll let you
What's
guys
your-
know.
Yeah.
I'll come back on.
What's your favorite Aqua Teen episode?
Kidney car. When they Meatwad gets a car and Master Shake and Meatwad are trying to fix it up, and Frylock's trying to help them, but Shake and Meatwad keep messing around, and it doesn't go too well.
Kidney car.
Things don't go too well.
What season is it?
That's season 2, 2003 season.
Oh, early. Okay.
It's season 2.
I had a question for you. I got 2 questions.
Let's hear it.
Are there any episodes of Aqua Teen that you do not feel hold up in the same way from when you first watched them? I think a lot of Aqua Teen is evergreen, timeless.
In terms of an
wondering-
entire episode, I haven't run across one at least that I don't think holds up. I mean, maybe there's maybe like a joke here or there or something, maybe that doesn't hold up now. But
like a Newt Gingrich reference or something.
Right.
And that's why one of the things I love about my music is that all my references are from the early aughts.
There you go.
So I'm referencing
evergreen.
Yes, it's all like post 9/11 humor.
Yeah.
I'm talking
when people needed to laugh.
Yeah.
We needed it more than ever.
That was the thing, Ronnie. I don't know if you knew this, but Adult Swim premiered
11 days before 9/11.
No, 9 days, because it premiered on my birthday, September 2nd. So 9 days.
Oh.
9 days before 9/11. And then because the shows were made a year beforehand, there was no mention of 9/11 or the Iraq War in any of the cartoons. And so that's why I think people
just
really
ignored it.
Well, no, they really
happening.
love these shows. Well, these shows were made before they knew.
Yeah. But it's not like afterwards they were real topical of like what was going on in
Well, I remember the first time it gets brought up, like the TV stops working and Shake says like terrorists.
That's true.
And that was like the first time it was ever like brought up.
Okay.
But I think people that's one of the things that they originally liked about Aqua Teen is that it was like this space where the news and current events didn't exist. It was like this other dimension where
a distraction. A happy distraction.
It was a happy distraction from reality.
Now, Rodney, here's my other very important question.
Let's hear it.
Other than the original, okay? What is your favorite opening title sequence of Aqua Teen? Like, when it was Aqua TV show and whatever the other ones.
Aqua TV show is probably my favorite. It's smooth.
Which one was that one?
That was
my third question.
The smooth one.
What one was that one?
Which one is Aqua TV?
What was the one with like the Mexican cantina? Like I like that one the most. I think
that was like Aqua, whatever or something like that.
Aqua something, what?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I know Carrie's favorite is the last one. That was all like anime style.
Yeah,
because
Aqua Teen Forever.
Yeah, he got to write his little rap
Yes.
segment.
Mhm.
And he likes anime. I think I like that something whatever the most because I feel like it's the most cartoony. The beginning one is not my favorite one.
Who's your favorite character?
Ooh.
Ha-ham!
I'm sorry, but I gotta go with my boy Meatwad.
Oh God.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
This interview's over.
Oh, all right, bye
We're
guys.
done.
Did you have any siblings as a kid?
Yeah, I have a sister, but I don't think she cared at all.
Was she older or younger?
Younger, 2 years younger than me.
Were you the bully or were you nice?
I was nice. We were both nice.
Yeah.
Mm. I think that's why one of the things that I loved when I first started watching Aqua Teen in those early years, because I thought it was like the best. I was so proud to be a part of it. But I had 3 older brothers who were really mean to me, who just didn't want me around and hated me.
Mm.
And I loved Master Shake and Meatwad's relationship because it reminded me of growing up and
Being
just
Meatwad.
being berated. Yeah, I felt like Meatwad was me and I was Meatwad.
You saw representation.
Yeah, I was represented on the screen.
Right.
And I really appreciated it. And I was always like, it's that conflict of Aqua Teen where you're like, wow, Master Shake is such a dick, but he's the best part of the show. He's
not according to Ronnie.
No offense to anybody else, but he's the funniest part of the show.
My lifetime of work is flushed down the toilet in 3 minutes. I like Carl the most, but I like the best when it is Carl and Shake and Meatwad together. They're not together a lot. I think that's why I always ask Dave what the hell the name of it is because I can't ever remember. But it's the episode that's like got all those references to the Flintstones in it.
Oh, 100, I think.
Where they're like, well, it's a living. And then there's like a nuclear bomb or something that goes off. So they're all down in this bomb shelter being idiots. Like, I think the combo of them together, they're not together all the time, but like that when they're in a supreme way. I also think that's what I liked about I can't remember if it's the new movie or the old movie, but like Frylock's out of it. So it's like Carl and Shake and Meatwad being idiots again. The 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like
that's Plantasm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a good, they go to diaper or baby wipe mountain. And,
mountain,
right. Yeah.
Do your parents understand what you're doing?
Yes. I mean, Aqua Teen was really, as a kid, I was there to watch whatever they had on TV. So they would put Adult Swim on for Family Guy or whatever, and then they would leave, and then that's when I would catch Aqua Teen. And Aqua Teen was the first thing really that was mine, independently of like my parents or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I love this thing. They didn't really like it that much. And so now all these years later, I started the podcast, and they get what I'm doing and they support it, but they're not necessarily.
They were like watching
Aqua Teen
Johnny
fans.
Carson, and you were watching Letterman.
I guess that's the way to put it.
It's just like my mom was the same way. She would watch Johnny Carson and then leave, and then we'd all watch Letterman, who thought was so punk rock and weird and did all this weird stuff.
Yeah, he was the counter to Johnny Carson.
Yeah. But Ronnie, thank you so much for being here, man. We really appreciate you making an appearance and making some time with us, and for letting us, not that you have any control over us, but for giving us your blessing with our podcast.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice before you go about how to do a podcast? What's your podcast advice?
I would say that maybe touch on the episodes a little bit more. I think people want to hear you guys talk about those. For like I assume this is your Escape from Leprechapolis episode.
This is our Leprechapolis episode. We didn't talk about it once, so maybe we should consider that.
Well, you ruined our streak, Ronnie, of not mentioning
Can I drop 2 things on you about this episode here?
Sure.
First of all, Matt and Dave were not supposed to make this episode. They were only cleared to make 1 episode, and then they started working on it even though they weren't supposed to, and almost, they got chewed out for it. And 2, my understanding, I've heard Dave say that they recorded one of the guys from the B-52s to be one of the leprechauns, but he didn't really give a very good performance, so they ended up not using it.
I auditioned for the Leprechauns. Didn't get it. Would have been great.
Keep trying.
Andy Merrill is one of them, and then the other guy is
Scott Hilly.
Scott Hilly. who was the Reverend on Squidbillies.
Oh, yeah. I remember him. He was a very nice man.
And there's a cameo by Kentucky Shark from Space Ghost and 12 Ounce Mouse.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But did you say all the things I just said on your show?
I can't remember. That was 3 years ago, so I don't know. I really don't know.
You block this out. You do it, and then you do
I take
rinse.
it out and I put the new stuff in. Yeah,
that's deep in the vault.
But guys,
Well,
I mean, thank you guys for having me. I love that you guys are doing this. I want to say, when I started my podcast in 2021, there wasn't a whole lot of Aqua Teen stuff out there. So now it's great to see you guys doing this. Matt Millero's doing his Meat Kingdom show over on YouTube, where we just had Bob Pettit on and talked with him about working on Aqua Teen. So for me as a fan, it's so great to see all you guys kind of celebrating the show that us fans all love so much.
The tables are turned because you've inspired us.
Yeah, Ronnie. Yeah.
Right on.
Now you're our inspiration. But thank you again for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ronnie. We'll talk soon.
Yes,
So long.
please.
I'll switch you into thinking Shake is better than Meatwad, but that's all right.
I look forward to it. Bye, guys.
Bye.
So you heard that we fucked up. We didn't talk about the show enough. We're not talking about the show enough. But
wait a minute, though. That's like...
no. Let me just say. Let me finish what I'm about to say.
Oh boy.
Because I've been reading all these comments because we put our show online.
You got to read the comments on here. Make it interactive.
I will.
Okay. All right. Not just writing back on the whatever it's on.
I'll do it in post. I'll read some
people,
of the.
Maybe people have questions. They
True,
can write in, ask questions.
But a lot of people are saying in the comments that we do not need to talk about Aqua Teen at all. That we are interesting enough.
What I wanted to say was, you got this guy saying you don't talk about it enough. That's all this guy talks about.
Yeah.
He's like a super. Of course, nothing in the universe will be enough about Aqua Teen.
He's actually a little bit of a concern.
And when you talk about, Ronnie, he's going to say there's never enough.
Yeah. But Ronnie can't be pleased.
An episode could be 7 hours long, talking in real time about every minute. He'd be like, you know what? You could have put a little more in there. I wouldn't have minded that. It's a little light on the.
Speaking of comments and this podcast, it actually went really well. The response was amazingly positive.
Well,
we got almost 5,000 views on YouTube. We have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
It's hard because you got to go across all these other platforms, right?
It's a lot of work. I don't know how I'm going to put out an album out this spring because I'm on social media. Now I have to do it 5 different times. I might have to enlist some of the fans to help me out. But on Apple, we placed 145th on the charts of comedy.
Out of how many?
Well,
146?
Of an infinite amount of comedy podcasts, which isn't bad for our first week. I was really happy with that number. I know we could do better, but
this is all. I haven't heard any of these, so this is all news to me. I subscribe to it on Apple.
Yeah. A lot of fans ask, where's the Apple podcast? It's everywhere now. We have a link tree that it links to everything. But if you do listen to us on Apple, please write us a review. Give us 5 stars.
Or else.
Don't give us anything else.
Don't even waste your breath.
Don't
you're
talk.
One of these
don't talk to me.
Johnnies.
Don't walk by me in the hallway giving me 1 star because I'm gonna make you stop and we're gonna have to have a conversation about it. Yeah. But please give us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also give us a review on Spotify. Please give us a review wherever you can. Leave a comment on YouTube, on our YouTube
You're
page.
You're literally begging right now.
No, I listen to the other podcasts, and this is what they do. They say, please give us a review. Please leave 5 stars.
I know what they say. Hit the bell and subscribe.
Yes, follow and subscribe.
Yeah, I don't know what anything.
Well, it's because you don't have to do anything. I've made this so easy for you.
I do the subscribing.
Dana's texting me, and he's like, I don't know how to post this on my Instagram.
I couldn't put a link on there.
You don't put a link on there. You do link in bio. You edit your profile.
Oh God.
he just sighed. I watched his whole body
links
convulse.
on my bio. Jesus.
Well,
why can't you just put a thing on?
We have a link tree that leads to all of it.
Okay, fine.
To all of it. I'll give you the link tree link.
Okay.
But thank you to everybody that watched. Such a positive response from everybody. Everybody was really happy with everything.
Yeah. Send questions. I'm ready to dish out some of my world famous Snyder relationship advice.
Yes, go
I'm very
ask
good
us
at it.
questions. I think
About I
personally am having more fun when we're talking about memories and stories.
I've repaired many a crumbling relationship.
Yeah, we'll give you love advice. We'll make this kind of any podcast
When
you want
does
it to
this
be.
come out?
We'll give you sex advice.
When does this come out?
I don't know. They're going to give it to me in a couple hours. I have to
Well,
edit
over
it.
Valentine's
So maybe
Day
by
weekend,
tomorrow.
I'll be in Miami.
Oh yeah.
At the Animate Miami.
Is this your plug now? You're plugging?
Well, I'm just saying, so I can do relationship advice in person.
Oh, so yeah, go to Dana in person at this convention and ask him
Miami
if you should break up with your girlfriend or not.
Yeah.
And let him change.
Let me look at her.
Let him change the course of your life.
Show me your last 3
I was
texts
so
you
happy,
sent.
and then
I'll
I
tell
went
you
to
if you should break
Animate
up with her or
Miami
not.
and talked to Dana
No,
Snyder.
that'd be better
Now
off.
my wife and I are no longer married.
No, I repair them. I don't match them. I patch them. That's my thing. I bring them together, closer. Sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes you just got to remind them.
If a guy goes like, I'm being abused, and my wife beats me on a daily basis, and she makes me feel horrible.
Well, why is she beating you?
So
maybe it's tough love.
So you turn it on him.
No, I'm just ask questions. I ask questions that the answers come from within.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like
maybe
a Zen
they shouldn't be together
relationship
though.
advice.
You know.
Maybe. Well, that's for some people.
That's
they
for him to
shouldn't be
decide.
together.
You're going to encourage them to.
No, I'm going to assess the situation.
You'd be like, you know what you need to do, buddies? You need to fall in line.
Yeah. Or hit back.
Hit back.
Maybe she wants something you're not giving her.
Yeah.
But also, then if you don't like her, just take a walk.
She likes the tough stuff.
She likes the tough stuff. That's right.
Do you like the tough stuff, Dana?
She eats uncooked
What
pasta.
kind of lover are you?
Gentle.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have.
Gentle and ashamed.
I cower in the corner, and I wait for you to leave.
Me?
No.
While I'm doing
my lover.
No, yes, right,
my
yes.
lover, and which is possible. I could have one.
I'm very apologetic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is this?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I'm very litigious. I have a lot of a lot of forms that need to be filled out.
Well, you have different. You have a totally different situation. You'd have to get all that stuff. I have one done a long time ago. I've got,
Yeah. You enjoying your marriage?
every day. Just gets better and better.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following. Thank you for subbing. And we appreciate all the support. We're going to keep doing this.
Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Roddy.
Thank you for letting us go long. But you stopped it twice, so that's on you.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Put a little dig in there right before the end. It got real nice at the end, and you got to put that little stab in there, that little ice pick.
Sorry, Tony.
In prison, they stab each other in the butts because it's not life-threatening. So they get it's like a lesser crime when they stab in the butt. Like they don't get attempted homicide.
Johnny,
that's what you did.
It's just a butt stab. So
yeah, it was like a little butt stab.
I'm gonna let you go back to your cell.
That's right. Yeah, it's something like you attacked another guy, but it's almost like punching him in the face. You don't get attempted murder.
Yeah.
Even though you stabbed him.
How do you know this?
I've been around. I got a lot of prisoner friends.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is the 5th time I've tried to say goodbye.
I'll do it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.